Hello, Zayoma lovers. Welcome back to the channel today. If this is your first time seeing me, hello, my name is Oluwa Damilola, a fashion designer and a fashion tutor in Nigeria. In our physical class, I was teaching the students how to add support to an overbust corset, and I thought of sharing it with my YouTube lovers. As a bespoke designer, it is important you know how to handle both busty and less busty people. In this video, I'll be showing you how to build support on a garment, especially for busty people using boning method. With that out of the way, let's get right into it. So once you've drafted your pattern, you've transferred to fabric, you've cut out, the next thing you have to do is to interface. And when you're interfacing, whatever interface you want to use, the choice is yours. But usually I always advise people to use a cotton hairstay. So this is what a cotton hairstay looks like. So you interface the whole fabric with a cotton hairstay. Then the bust part, the part which we are going to be boning, you interface the part with a collar stay. This is what a collar stay looks like. It's a bit hard, you can see. You interface with a collar stain before you start boning. You bone with this size of regiline bone, which is 8 mm. So this size of regiline bone.
So now let's get right into it. So this is what the basic bodies would look like. And then once you've done your bust contouring, then you have a line like this. So you have a line like this that will go straight down, right? Okay, so now, so let's assume that this is, so let's assume this is what the neckline looks like a scoop. Yeah. So now you have to locate where you want the cage in the boning to be, which is going to be around the bust area. So is you take the bone round, so you mark it before you can start boning. You have to first mark, so you mark around this way. Next thing you have to do now is this portion, you divide it into, you can divide it into 2 or 3. So you rule around the line this way, you rule around the line this way if you're just dividing into this part. But if you want like more lines, you can. Once you have done that, the next thing you have to do now is you divide from this point to this point. You also divide into 2, and then from here, now this is one journey. From this point now, you take your bone to be curved this way. From here to here, you divide into 3. From this point, this is from your bust point to the other, to the nipple point to the other nipple point, which is to the bust point to the other bust point. You divide into 3. So from here now, this is the center. So from the center, you can go out by 1 inch, and then you take this way. This is the center, and then another one like this, you take this way, right? Then after you're done that, of course there'll be a bone here, there'll be a bone here. The same thing you did around this part, you do the same thing here. You take this here, and then you take it this way. So then you also put a bone around this place. Of course you have to leave seam allowance. You have to leave seam allowance. You also put a bone around this parts. Okay, so that's for one style. Another style, so let's say for example your neckline is like a sweetheart neckline. It's not a scoop neckline like this. So your neckline is sweetheart, not scoop. All right, so what you have to do is you take another bone. So you know that there was one bone that when it was a scoop, the initial one we did, the scoop neckline, there was a bone that followed this neckline like this. So you're going to take another bone, mark another line. So you take the bone this way, and then you take it down. Then you take another bone beside this again, beside this, you take it this way, and then you take it around like this. So you have your sweater shape, and then you do the remaining lines. So basically this is how to go about it. I just have to quickly do this rough paper illustration before moving to the main fabric.
So for you to do your bust caging, you need to understand the shape that you want to do. So you're taking it this way. One is going to come this way to reinforce this place, this hack here. This part now from here to here, divide into 2. So from here to here, I have 5. So that's 2.5. Half of it, 2.5. So whatever you are doing, it has to be curved. The same thing for this side too. From here to here, we measure. This is 4.5. Half of 4.5 is 2.25. So you mark it. So this time around, you measure from here to here too. From here, this 3.5. Half of 3.5 is 1.75. So do the same thing here. Whatever you've done here, you measure. You measure has to be the same thing. For this place now, we did 2.25. So you see 4.5, half of 4.5. So you mark it 2.25 also. Measure here what you have here. This is 2.25 too. So measure 2.25. Then you mark the same thing for the side. From here to here, we go 5 inches. So this is 5 inches. Half of 5 inches is 2.5. So you mark 2.5. And then you mark this way. However you want to do you can decide to make it V like this. So if you're doing maybe you're doing like a sweetheart shape, you bring it this way. But this time around, our design is curved this way, so we have to follow this point. So basically, this is how to mark what you need to. So the next thing is for us to now follow the lines with bones. So for the boning, you have to use 8 mm regiline bone to cage it to reinforce this bust part. Usually, I always advise that you do bust caging for people that are really busty so that it can like support the bust very well. And also, when you are getting your bone, you can be lucky to get the one that is gatherable. So this 8 mm now is I can gather it. So when you gather it, it's the bone will curve, so it will be easier for you to like follow the shape that you want. That's like the purpose of gathering. You can see I'm pulling this. So what you have to basically do is you pull this, you stretch it out. You pull inside, push it, and stretch it out. So as I'm stretching it out like this, it will be easier for me to curve, do it this way. Do you understand? So I'm going to measure what I want. This is how I want it. Then be careful not to make this place drop. So it's always advisable that you push it in a little bit here. So I'm measuring what I want this way. Then I'll add a bit of excess to it. So now it's easier for me to sew because I already have that round shape that I want. So before you close it this way, you have to first sew the vertical ones and then you close it up this way.
So make sure you iron very well to have a very smooth surface. So now we've come to the end of adding boning to our overbust corset. You can see how seamless this looks. Now take a look at the feet. This is so beautiful. You can see how the overbust is supporting the bust without any sort of spillage. This is how your bust caging should look like. If you find this very useful, don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and comment below.